So wind energy, state of the art and future scope. So without further ado, I will move to the uh, what is the topic about. So first, I will introduce you like why we need wind energy. It's a very basic introduction we'll have, and we'll focus on the operating principle of the wind turbine aerofoil and also the wind turbine performance from the power and torque point of view. And then we will understand the state of the art technology of this wind energy based on its machine converter topologies and also based on these locations and what all different schemes we have. This will be a good understanding of the state of the art technology from this wind energy point of view. Then we'll see a simple case study, and then we will also see the current research trend, because as I understand, you people are doing your bachelor's or master's, so you'll be interested in this field, like what is the research area which will help you to understand this topic in a better way. And also we'll see the various challenges associated with this technology and also what are the scope for the future, which will give you an understanding of the various opportunities that we have in this field, maybe from job point of view or from a higher studies point of view. We will understand what are the opportunities available. So now we will move to, as I told you, we'll first understand why exactly we need wind energy. So this is a very basic understanding. As we all know that there is a limited fossil fuel reserves, and it has been, as per IEA World Energy Outlook, it has been seen that, or it has been predicted that by end of 2081 we'll be left with no fossil fuel reserves if we go on consuming at the rate at what we are consuming till date. And further, this consumption of this fossil fuel reserves comes at a price of CO2 emission, which is one of the leading cause of environmental pollution, and we are seeing a lot of environmental hazards happening now and then. So for these two aspects, and I like all the countries are shifting their focus of generating power from renewable aspects, mostly from solar and wind. And then we'll understand you'll be curious to know like what is the installed power capacity till date, and it has been last year's data. Like till date we have almost 651 gigawatt of wind energy or wind power plant that has been established till date, which is an increase of almost 10% in 1 year. And this installed capacity contributes to almost 1430 terawatt hour, which is almost 5.3% of the total electric power that we consume on a daily basis. Further, the generation cost of wind energy is very close to the fossil fuel reserve and is one of the cheapest cost per unit that we have from the renewable energy, the existing renewable energy that we have, maybe solar or geothermal or tidal, whatever it is. The generation cost is very close to the fossil fuel reserves. So for this generation cost aspect, we mostly are moving into the wind energy part. Okay. Now so this is what I've explained. This is the installed capacity, 651 gigawatt, which is almost a 10% rise from last year to 2019. Now we'll understand the operating principle of a wind turbine. Before moving into the state of the art technology, I will just I'll just brief you through the what is the operating principle, and I believe many of you will be knowing that this wind turbine operates in the principle of aerodynamics. But what exactly is aerodynamics? I will try to brief you through this aspect. So I am sure you must be aware of the Bernoulli's theorem. So Bernoulli's theorem has got three heads. One is pressure head, one is velocity head, and one is potential head. So this is a typical cross section of the blade aerofoil. So this is the entire blade. So if you cut a small part, so this is what the cross section looks like. So here if you see, this bottom and top surface are almost at the same level. So potential head is negligible. The difference in potential head is negligible. So we are left with two more heads. One is pressure head and one is velocity head. So this aerofoil section is so designed that the top part has a more length as compared to the bottom part. So what happens when this wind strikes this aerofoil section? The wind travels a longer distance in the top part as compared to the bottom part. So for which the velocity head in the top part is more as compared to the bottom part. Now, if you remember Bernoulli's theorem, the pressure head plus velocity head plus the potential head is a constant. So if the velocity head at the top part is more, then definitely the pressure head is going to be less. So if pressure head on the top part is less and the pressure head on the top part is more, this difference in pressure causes a lift force. So due to this lift force, the blade starts to rotate. So this is what I have explained here, that the blades are designed in such a way to have a pressure difference between the top and bottom surface, and this happens due to the length of the blade for which the velocity is different, and as a result the pressure head of the top part is lesser as compared to the bottom part, which for which there is a lift force. Okay, so this lift force helps to rotate. But similar, then there is one more force also which tries to push that aerofoil. It is not that only whatever wind comes it helps in lift, but some part of the wind tries to push the blade section. That is called the drag force. That is the cause of many wind turbine getting damaged. Okay, if you see that blades break or the blades an entire turbine topples down, so this is due to the drag force. So the our basic objective, like while we are understanding the operating principle, is that this lift to drag ratio has to be maximum. So whatever wind we have to supposing we have to design this wind blade for example, then we should have the maximum lift as compared to the drag, so that the wind that is striking the blade section will help it to rotate rather than help it to cause toppling down or damaging it. Okay, so that is what I have mentioned here. The lift to drag ratio has to be maximum, and that if you see here, this is the typical lift to drag ratio versus angle of attack. I'll come to the various definitions, but if you see that the lift to drag ratio at a particular angle of attack, let's say close to 13 degree or close to 12 to 13 degree, this is a general trend, that this lift to drag ratio is maximum. So now we'll understand the various terminologies associated with this to understand the operating principle in a better way. So this is the blade cross section that I have shown in the previous slide. So if you join this tip, one tip to the another tip, this is called the chord line. This is a very important term. If you are in the wind field, then you should understand the chord line. And this V is the direction of wind velocity. Okay, let's say it is flowing into the page. The V is into the page, and the blade is rotating in this direction. So we'll have the plane of rotation, or this is the linear velocity direction. Okay, but now we are interested to understand the wind flow direction. So if the turbine is rotating in one direction, then automatically the wind will be rotating in other direction. Like supposing you are sitting on this blade, we will see that the wind is rotating in the other direction. So the linear velocity or the angular velocity of the wind due to this turbine rotation will be in minus u direction. So we have now in V and U. So this resultant of this U and V comes out to be W, which is nothing but the resultant wind speed. Okay. And now the angle made between this resultant wind speed and the chord line is called the angle of attack. Okay. This is what the definition of angle of attack is. But if you observe if you see this wind turbine, even if the linear velocity of the wind remains same throughout the blade surface, but and the angular velocity also remains constant of this blade, it rotates at a particular omega, but the linear velocity, the u component is basically w into r, which where r is the radius. So with change in the length of the blade, this r component changes. So we will have a lesser u component at the hub region and a very high u part in the tip region of the blade. So to so if we will see that supposing this u becomes very high, so what will happen? Our w will shift towards u. Okay, the resultant, supposing v is fixed, now u increases, so w will move towards u. Now if w moves towards u, then I will reduce, this capital I. If this capital I reduces, then this small I will also reduce, because this line will shift towards the chord line. Okay, so the angle of attack will reduce. So if the angle of attack reduces, then also we are seeing that the lift to drag ratio will reduce. Then how to ensure that this I will be maintained at I0 throughout the blade? So what we have in our hand is the blade pitch. You must have heard about the pitch control of blade. So this is the blade twist or the blade pitch that we have, alpha. So if you have observed a blade of a wind turbine, you will see that the blade is not a flat blade. It will be twisted. So bottom part will have less twist, while the top part will have more twist. This is done to ensure at the top part will have higher twist, so as to have I0 I close to I0, and bottom part will have lower twist to have I close to I0. So this twist, this twist will ensure that this lift to drag ratio throughout the blade section, is maintained at a particular angle of attack. Okay, but what is the main challenge? Now the main challenge is during the starting part. If you observe at the starting part, this u is 0 because the blade has not rotated, so u is 0. Only the v component is there. So the w will be close to the v component. That means this capital I is close to 90 degree, or it is almost equal to 90 degree, and also small I is also equal to 90 degree. So if you see this curve, the small I, if it is close to 90 degree, then we have very little lift to drag ratio, which will not be sufficient enough to make this blade rotate. So if the blade is not rotating, will not have the u component, so all the time it will be in this standstill condition. So in order to avoid that, we need to understand the turbine performance. Okay, so the first and foremost turbine parameter is the power capture. Okay, so this power captured is a function of the wind velocity cube of the wind velocity. A is the cross section, not the cross section area. It is like if we rotate the once it is rotating, it is like pi r square is the area of this swept area, what we call it the swept area. If you can refer any reference or any textbook, A is the swept area, and Cp is the power coefficient. What is power coefficient? Power coefficient is nothing but the mechanical power output of the turbine by the available wind power. As you know that whatever power is flowing in the wind cannot be captured by the turbine. If it happens so, then the wind will stop flowing. Okay, if the Cp is 1, then if the all the power in available in the wind is captured by the turbine, then the wind will not flow at all. Okay, so there is a great deal of research has been carried out in the past, and it has been observed that the value of this Cp is between 0 to 0.593, that is the maximum base limit, and normally we have a Cp, that the highest efficient turbine will have a Cp close to 0.4 to 0.42. Till date what we have, it is the Cp value is 0.42, maximum 0.45. We cannot go to this value whatever, because we have a lot of mechanical design constant, so Cp value remains within 0.45. We can assume that. Now comes an important parameter, is the tip speed ratio. What is tip speed ratio? It is the blade tip speed, as I made you understand, that omega into r, where capital R, where r is the blade length, that is the speed or the linear speed at the blade tip. Okay, so at this part, what is the linear speed at this tip of this blade, and then divided by the ratio divided by the resultant wind speed, that is w at the tip part. So that is the tip speed ratio. So these are the basic um, what you can say is the parameter to understand the performance of a wind turbine. So this is a typical power coefficient versus tip speed ratio characteristics. This is from a standard IEEE paper. So what we see is that the CP value is close to zero point 0.4 at a tip speed ratio of close to 6.5. But if you see here, the power coefficient is 0 because at the starting part speed is 0, so power is 0. But the interesting part, I'm sorry I have missed out this curve. There is one interesting part is the torque coefficient. So if you see the torque coefficient of any particular wind turbine, that will be non-zero at this tip speed. Okay, so we'll have a sufficient amount of torque. And this torque can be ensured by having this pitch control. There is one concept called pitch control where the alpha is made very high. If you make this alpha very high, so we'll have some positive amount of capital I, or not positive amount, it is like less than 90 degree. If we make this pitch angle very high at the starting, so we'll have some I less than 90 degree, it will be close to some 50 to we'll have pitch angle close to 30 or 40 degrees. So we'll have uh, small I close to 40 degree, for which we'll have some lift, for which there will be a positive torque, and even at zero speed it will have some positive torque, and slowly gradually it will build up. And once the speed builds up, we will change this alpha value gradually to 0 degree, so as to maintain this I value close to I0. Okay, so this is how the turbine performance, the turbine rotates, the power part and the torque part. So these are the basic understanding. There are a lot of research from mechanical point of view is going on to improve this power coefficient and this torque coefficient. So that's why many new designs of blades are coming up in, and it will be coming also in near future also. Now we'll understand this next part, that is the state of the art technology of the wind. So here we will understand what are the basic classifications of this wind turbine. Mostly we'll have two types of wind turbine. One is horizontal axis wind turbine, one is vertical axis wind turbine. So here I have listed down the features of this both the turbines. If you can see here, this horizontal axis wind turbine has very high speed as compared to vertical axis wind turbine. So but this horizontal axis requires huge infrastructure, because we have to have this generator, the gearbox and the transformer, all this electrical and the mechanical part in the nacelle at a very greater height. So we require huge infrastructure, and also the tower structure becomes very complex, but which is not there in case of vertical axis wind turbine, where we have very simple design and we can place the generator and the transformer and gearbox everything at the bottom. So we have a less infrastructure requirement and also a very simpler tower structure. But this vertical axis wind turbine has got a very high torque, but it operates at a very less speed. So if you want to utilize this for electric power conversion, then we need to have a very complex gearbox arrangement, or we need to have a very multi-stage gearbox arrangement, which is the case that most of the wind turbine we use for electric applications are horizontal axis wind turbine, because this inherently has a high speed. So the gearbox structure becomes less complicated, and we can achieve the rotational speed of the generator using a less amount of gear ratio. Okay, now coming to the next classification, the wind turbine based on its power rating. So if you see this a wind turbine, the total output power, if it is more than 50 kilowatt, it is considered as large wind turbine. And this is the largest wind turbine so far has been designed by GE, which is like of the order of 2.5 megawatt. And you can see that the, and this is the swept area. If you see the swept area, this orange part is the swept area, and this blade, each blade length is close to the total length of an Airbus A380, which is close to 80 meters. So it's a very huge turbine. Okay, and similarly we have the smaller counterpart also, which is less than 20 kilowatt, which where the rotor diameter is of the order of in from 1 meter to 7 meter. You must have seen in various rooftops, in base telecom tower. If you can, if you have visited in a base telecom tower, there also they have this arrangement. So these are the small wind turbine which are mostly used for household application. But the interesting part, what we have seen in the recent scenario, is that in India, as we all know, it's a very congested country. So establishing this large wind turbines requires huge land, and it is very difficult to get huge land, huge infrastructures for this establishing large wind turbines. So MNRE, that is Ministry of New and Renewable Energy, and also the Department of Science and Technology, DST, they are mostly focusing on the small wind turbine part. Okay, so this is a very burning topic. If you see, very many researchers are focusing on this small wind turbine part where the power rating is less than 20 kilowatt. So this is an upcoming research area. This is more or less matured. Only for the blade dynamics and all the mechanical part, a lot of research is going on, but the electrical part, more or less, it is matured. But this is a very upcoming technology, because the cost of this small wind turbine power output, power per unit, or energy per unit, is very high. So that is why they are looking for efficient wind turbine, efficient machines, efficient converter technologies and whatnot. So this is a very upcoming technology.